Hey guys, and welcome to Armchair Conversations with Rob. In my ongoing series of lessons from my retro notebook, I'm going through some quotes and things that I wrote down and just talking about some of the things I was thinking at the time and maybe putting a little bit of today's thoughts and wisdom from my life experiences with it. This quote was one of my most favorite quotes in that time period of my life, the college years and my younger years. Um, Again, I was very heavily into martial arts at that time, really trying to embody the wisdom that I gathered there. This quote in particular used to give me chills to read because it's all about, I guess, self identity and that sense of self that's strong and unshakable. And I still like this quote. If I can think, it was Kirkland C. Peterson, I think is the name of the guy. The book is called Mind of the Ninja, or Mind of a Ninja. Um, I really like the philosophy behind a lot of the books that are positively written on ninjutsu because it's a lot of transpersonal psychology. There's a lot of things that people like Jung would be very proud of in terms of archetypes and things of that nature. Um, So I really like the idea of being able to form and develop a psychology that helped you to survive in unimaginable odds. I'm definitely a fan of the underdog. But anyway, the quote was, "A true ninja can plunge headlong and full into the cold of darkness, knowing full well that it cannot harm or usurp him because of the brightness he carries in his heart." Basically, to me, that quote meant that there are times when in life you have to know who the heck you are, who the hell you are. And you have to know it so strongly that no matter where you go or no matter what you do, you stay you. In my mind, it says that if I have to get into circumstances or situations that maybe I don't normally espouse or approve of. If I have to do some things, if there's dirty work to be done, if I have to get my hands dirty about some things that maybe are hard tasks, hard decisions, necessary evils, as it were, that I do not have to let that overcome me and take me to a place where I'm not myself anymore because of the brightness I carry in my heart, meaning that my strength of character and understanding about who I am will allow me to do things that maybe are not the most pleasant, but not lose my identity, my personal focus and values on who I am. And I think the reason why it struck me is because a lot of times, if you think of the traditional stereotypes and some of the misinformation and information that's mixed together surrounding the ninja and their role in history and in society, from the American perspective of the movies we see, the books we read, is that they often had to do the dirty jobs. They had to assassinate people. They had to do the spying and intelligence gathering and basically become something that was not always positive. And so my thoughts on that quote were that I can become the things that I need to become to do my job effectively, what's required of me, or to do the necessary evils that are going to prevent bigger problems from arising. It is, to my feeling, the basis of most of our Secret Service organizations in this country. There are a lot of people out there who are otherwise good people that have to do dirty work. And so, therefore, knowing full well that it cannot harm or usurp him, meaning that it cannot take away my sense of identity because of the brightness he carries in his heart or she carries in her heart. In other words, I may have to do dirty things, but that doesn't make me a dirty person. It doesn't make me intrinsically not who I am anymore unless I let it. And so that was my go-to quote for a lot of things because at that time there were things that I did in my life that I wasn't proud of and that I was not, that weren't really representing who I was as a person. And anybody who's ever had to come from a more difficult or challenging beginning, or a beginning where they had people around them that made them feel like they had to do things that are not kosher, quote unquote, that are not lawfully abiding, um, to survive or to get where you need to go, you may be enheartened and encouraged, enlivened, whatever word, to realize that if you really want to change, this may not be a permanent situation. If this is really not you, but is something you're having to do to make sure you make it to the next round, um, I'm not encouraging you to go ahead and do it. I'm going to encourage you, where I sit now, to find alternatives, to find a way to use your brain to get you to do something else, or find a way around what you're doing so you don't have to go against your personal beliefs, your core gut values about who you are and what you should be. But if you have to, because there are people with careers and jobs in this country that are required to do dirty work every day, do not let it usurp who you really are, so that when the war is over, when that battle is done, when you are time to retire, you can rekindle, recapture the initial part of you that was good and basically wanted to be good. So anyway, this one was kind of weird and off the cuff, but again, I'm going through these things and trying to explain the thoughts that I had, to share them with someone so that it may be a help to somebody who's thinking that way or in this stage of their life. So the quote was, "A true ninja can plunge headlong and full into the cold of darkness, knowing full well that it cannot harm or usurp him because of the brightness he carries in his heart." Bottom line takeaway from this is, even if you have to do dirty jobs and you have to do dirty things and you have to do not so nice things, don't let it take away your purity of spirit, the person that you are and who you are. So that was that quote from that time. And again, thank you for sharing my armchair. If you like what I'm doing, if you're interested, merely curious, subscribe, give me some comments, leave me some feedback, do something, and we'll talk again.